Americans are suffering, right? We have so many things coming at us thanks to the orange ape all at one time. And it's extremely difficult to even cope right now, much less try to organize one's thoughts and behave like a good citizen. I believe it's almost impossible. We got news today that so far these filthy Republicans have not decided on continuing the extra unemployment compensation that workers have relied on over the past couple of months since the first congressional relief package was written into law. But it all runs out. It runs out when? Friday? I think it's Friday. I know it's this week. And what the Republicans want to do is cut that supplemental bonus from $600 to $200 a week. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Madness. But that's just one of the things that Americans are dealing with right now. There's so much that is putting pressure on all of us of a sort that we've never experienced before, not this generation. We have never experienced a confluence of so many things that are so enormously what am I trying to say? Enormously impactful on our lives, from the Trump pandemic to the Trump meltdown as far as the economy is concerned, to the refusal of the orange ape to even acknowledge global warming. I mean, it just goes on and on. Trump's refusal to acknowledge that white people are finally coming out of the ether, one hopes, regarding inequality under the law to our brothers and sisters of color. None of this matters to Trump because he is such a moron. But one of the worst things happened yesterday. Yesterday. Oh, my God. How to do this, how to get into this. Well, let me start this way. According to the Mayo Clinic, endometriosis, and if you're female, you know exactly what it is. But for us ignorant males, it's an often very painful disorder in which tissue, similar to the tissue that normally lines the inside of the uterus, which is the endometrium, that tissue grows outside the uterus. If you're male, if you can imagine that, if you can picture that in your mind, which is very, very, very difficult. Well, that's what endometriosis is. But no, says one Dr. Stella Emanuel. She is a Houston pediatrician. Oh, my God. And a spiritual leader of the Firepower Ministries. Firepower Ministries. And she was one that Trump acknowledged a couple of days ago and pointed to her and a group of doctors standing behind her in a photo, in a tweet or whatever. She had all the answers, and Trump, being the moron that he is, retweeted what was said about her and what she said. Well, here's a little bit about her. According to Dr. Emanuel, endometriosis and other potentially dangerous, if not fatal, gynecological conditions are the residue of sexual intercourse with demons. No, you didn't hear that incorrectly. This psychotic nutcase, Dr. Stella Emanuel, a spiritual leader of the Christian Firepower Ministries, and God help the people who are in her practice, a pediatrician. She says that endometriosis is the result of sexual intercourse with demons. She goes further. These demons, she says, are known as, quote, spirit husbands and spirit wives. Well, in a different religious philosophy altogether, you might prefer their pet names, incubus and succubus. She says these demons once walked the earth in physical form. However, they drowned in Noah's flood. And now they are carrying on in non-corporeal form. They don't have bodies. These incubi and succubi are people who walked the earth right before Noah's flood. And here's what they do. They visit sleeping people when they're having sex dreams, which aren't dreams at all, according to the learned Dr. Emmanuel. They're not dreams at all. But spirit spouses making a booty call while you're asleep. Now, the demons are responsible not only for diseases of the female reproductive system, but also for male impotence, most financial troubles, marital discord, and spiritual malaise. This is a nutcase. This is a person who is obviously totally psychotic. Demons who come and have sex with you while you're asleep and infect you with all kinds of troubles and problems, whether it is of a sexual/physical nature or an economic nature or a spiritual nature or a marital nature. It's all because of these demons. Now, that's not the learned Dr. Stella Immanuel's only diversion from sanity. She also says that alien DNA is a component of some therapeutic drugs, and that government scientists are developing a vaccine to prevent religious faith. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now, if you really want to see some shit, man, woman, listen up. You really want to see some shit? I'll tell you what, go to YouTube and look up Dr. Stella Immanuel. Immanuel. Dr. Stella Immanuel. Look at some of her YouTubes. If you don't wet yourself from laughing or from fear that this woman is actually a practicing medical doctor in the United States, then take your temperature, because you may be dead. Because the demons got in you last night and ate your insides. My God. Now, if you don't want to go to the trouble of looking her up on YouTube, you might find her on the Orange Apes Twitter feed. On the thing that he retweeted, she testifies to the power of hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, we're back to that one. Hydroxychloroquine to cure COVID-19. And the learned Dr. Emmanuel assures the public that masks, they're not important for fighting the pandemic. So as a result of the Orange Ape retweeting all of this, the ape's amplifying effect because of his Twitter feed, more than 10 million Americans heard her advice. That was before Facebook took down her page. And in response to Facebook taking down her page, the learned Stella Immanuel threatened to have Jesus unplug Facebook's servers. I mean, what do you call this kind of madness that this filthy ape in the White House so freely and willingly and I guess joyously associates himself? Does Trump believe in demons slipping into your sex dreams at night to infect you with all sorts of evil shit? Does he? He must. It goes without saying that perhaps the president of the United States or the president of anything, anywhere on earth, shouldn't, in the midst of a deadly pandemic, pass along advice from a psycho like the learned Dr. Emmanuel that challenges, for some people, public health officials and gives the impression that it comes from a qualified authority. That's what the orange ape did, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care about that. And by the way, this was in the Washington Post, yesterday? I thought I was going to lose it. And David Bondrell, who wrote this, he says, quote, "And I suppose it's pointless to say to my Christian brothers and sisters in Trump's dwindling camp that a man who raises the profile of a heretical preacher is not a friend of the faith being Christianity. Many so-called evangelicals who stick with Trump gave up on evangelism long ago." By the way, you know what evangelism is, right? It's winning people to Christ through selfless acts of love and charity. That's the definition of evangelism that I learned at my grandmother's knee. Selfless acts of love and charity. Can you imagine this Christian Nazi, this preacher named Jeffress in Texas, just like this woman in Texas? I mean, what do you expect? Can you imagine him with his 25,000, 30,000 member megachurch preaching love, selfless acts of love and charity? No, you can't. But we're not talking about Jeffress. We are talking about the learned Stella Immanuel, whose insanity is spread the same way Trump spread the coronavirus. Well, the Trump virus. It's spread through Trump telling people to listen to what this psychotic woman says. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to The Ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com. And never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.